Hello, everyone. Welcome to our yin and restorative yoga practice. So, as usual for this type of class, make sure you have a bunch of pillows and blankets around so that you have more options. You may want to have a strap as well, or strap. We're going to begin in a supported child's pose. So, what that means is you'll want to take at least a pillow, maybe even a stack of pillows, to straddle at the back end, bringing your feet together to touch, and then your belly could rest on that. You can also drape a blanket over the portion that your belly is resting on. And then we're going to set 2 blocks of you. You could use like the lowest height of the block so that we can begin to rotate the triceps down, open up into the triceps and shoulders by placing your elbows shoulders width apart on top of those blocks that are in front, and then bringing your fingertips together so that they touch in almost a prayer position. And you'll rest your head downward, and if you need a little space for your nose hair, you could get another little blanket, a little face towel, roll it up so that you have a little lift under your forehead. And then you'll trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, maybe down the back of your neck, maybe even down towards the shoulder blade. You rest your head down. It's helpful also if you have a pillow that you can sort of roll up so that your head can stick out, your nose can stick out off the front edge so that you can breathe easily. And then make sure that you are physically comfortable enough to be in this position for a couple of minutes as we start. As well as the support of the props underneath. Exhales out, so you might even feel a resonance at your chest or your belly through that vibration of sound. Maybe some sighs or some moans or some ohms. Ways to just help regulate your nervous system. Of high yoga. And that component or duty to self is called Ishvara Pranidhana. I want to continue citing the article from Yoga Journal I began with yesterday, written by Shiva Ray, the teacher I had the honor to study with. This Ishvara Pranidhana. We must first start with our own intimate connection to the universe. In yoga, this is referred to as your Ishta Devata. The yogic concept of Ishta Devata recognizes that we each have our own personal relationship with and taste of the divine. And that this serves as a powerful means of yoga, which means unification for us. So just a reminder that Ishva Pranidhana itself is often translated as surrendering one's efforts to the divine, making a dedication of the fruits of your actions, the fruits of your labor. It's an offering. So your Ishta Devata can also take forms of archetypes, of deities, of saints, anything that allows you to connect with your higher self, again, with divine, that feeling of universal, the greater good. And it can also take a more abstract form. Here she writes, my father, an artist, describes light as his way of seeing the divine in nature, in people's eyes, in art. In yoga, Ishvara is understood as being beyond one form, yet expressed through all forms, and thus is often represented as the sacred symbol or syllable Om, that sound that we chant, as pure vibration. Your Ishtadevata is the form that vibration takes within your. You translate. In the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali refers to this inner presence of Ishvara as our foremost teacher. And through intimate listening to this voice within us, we begin to have a relationship with inner guidance in all aspects of our life. If Ishvara is the inner compass, Pranidhana is remembering to stay connected to that essence, not just occasionally, but throughout the day. For example, saying grace before me, honoring your up in the morning. Ishvara Pranidhana is also translated as offering the fruits of one's actions to the divine. All these practices cultivate an underlying connection with the source. Me starts to move into the background, and spiritual life moves forward. Anybody, regardless of spiritual orientation, can practice Ishvara Pranidhana, and any action can be enhanced by this practice. Even sort of per se activities like washing the dishes, sweeping, gardening, talking to a loved one. These practices themselves could be offered up. They can be forms of meditation as well. Let's take one more breath in the position that you're in. Staying in child's pose, begin to extend your arms straight, sliding your blocks forward so that as you straighten your arms ahead, hands about, shoulders width apart, you can now raise the blocks if you choose to the medium height or even a taller height, and place your forearms on the blocks so that your hands just sort of flop down towards the front edges of the blocks. We won't be here too long. We're just starting to unfold here as we transition slowly out of this posture. Now, as your arms are extending forward, can you allow your pelvis to sink a little heavier back towards your feet? So there's a counter force moving in both directions. The lengthening forward through your arms, through your crown, and the lengthening back to your sitting bones, your tailbone. Invite you to take a deeper breath into the sides of your ribcage and really fill up from your armpits down the sides of your torso to your outer hips. Perhaps now just breathing through your nose if that works for you, so that you can contain some warmth within the body to help your body open up. Now, as your arms are reaching forward, let your shoulders soften back. Again, those counter forces. Now inviting more space within your neck. Those of you breathing just through your nose, try brushing the breath gently past the back of your throat. So now you're creating a very subtle yet audible whispering sound using Ujjayi Pranayama. Staying here for just a few more breaths, can you accentuate rotating the outer sides of your upper arms, your triceps, downward towards the earth, and maybe even allow your palms to begin to face each other so thumbs are pointing towards the sky. A little more activation. Feel the effect of broadening your shoulder blades a little wider across your back ribs. And with your next inhalation, direct the breath into the space right between your shoulder blades, right across the tops of your shoulders. Can you relax that muscle down the sides of your neck, down the base of your neck, across the tops of your shoulders into the tops of your shoulder blades, called the trapezius muscle? With each exhalation, bring a sense of surrender in that trapezius muscle, often tightening when we feel burdened by carrying the weight of responsibility in our shoulders, or sitting at the computer for long periods of time. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Now, as you start to walk your hands closer to your body, maybe alongside your knees, with a slow inhale, begin to roll your spine gently right, lifting your head last so that you can sit up. And then let's come to sit in any way you may want to sit on one of your props, like your pillows. Bring your legs out in front of you. You're going to add some gentle movement here. So on your next inhale, raising your arms forward like you're gathering something from the ground. But then as you exhale, hitting your palms, bend your elbows like a cactus shape, and backstroke your looking up. Let your chest broaden and lift. And then again, inhale, gathering the flowers from the earth, pinky fingers touching each other. Raising your arms overhead, relax your shoulders down, then exhale, backstroke your arms, coil your chest. Now to the pace of your breath, inhale, gather the flowers. Backstroke, open your heart. Inhale, gather the flowers. Exhale, backstroke, open your heart. 3 more rounds. Inhale. Deep exhale. Inhale. Can you space your arms to really trace the perimeter extending outside of your body? Inhale. Exhale. Feel the rotation at your shoulders. And then from here, set your left fingertips on the ground just beside your left hip. Raise your right arm up. Keep grounding down to your shoulders, your pelvis. Lift up to your crown as you inhale. Begin to side bend to your left as you exhale. Then pause as you breathe in again, rooting down your right sitting bone just a little bit more. Continue to lift your spine from your pelvis. Exhaling as you side bend, maybe a little deeper. You might explore crawling your left hand further away, or even lowering your left elbow if that's available without really shortening the left side of your torso. Can you let your shoulders melt down away from your ears so you're honoring space in both the left and the right side of your neck? Feel your front ribs embracing your back body. Just 3 more breaths here. Lateral extension of your spine. You feel energy reaching through your right fingertips. Now to help you lift up, draw your lower belly inward towards your back, then inhale to rise. Set your right hand on the ground just beside your right hip, so I'm mirroring you, and then left arm to the sky, firm downward to your bones, to your shoulders, lift upward to your crown. Take deep. Then exhale to your right, a little bit of side bend. Pause as you breathe in, especially firm down the left side of your pelvis as you lift your spine from your hips. Exhale, continue to side bend. So just being curious without expectation about the journey of this pose, the journey within the pose. You might be crawling your right fingertips further out. You might be lowering your right elbow, or not. Knowing that there's no better or worse, simply adjusting as you feel your body guide you into that balanced space of feeling length, of feeling expansion, while feeling stability and grounding. Last 3 breaths. Drawing your navel in towards your spine. Inhale to slowly rise. And then let's extend the legs forward for a moment, just them movement. So as you straighten your legs out, begin to rotate from your hip sockets, your thigh bones, but let your knees and feet too. Inward, outward, inward, outward. Just like feet are screws that you're playing with opposite directions. Use your hands to guide your hips here to continue to root through your pelvis and create space up throughout your spine. So wipe your feet, but rotating from your hips. And then just shaking out your legs. Maybe even using gentle fists to tap into your IT band area, your quadriceps, long muscles of the body. A little tapping to increase warmth and blood flow circulation, suppleness. And then as you place your hands alongside your hips again, flex your feet, spread your toes back towards your face, and then point your toes away from your face. Really feel the stretch in the front of the ankle there. Again, flex, take a deep breath. And exhale, point. More. Inhale. And exhale. Just like cat-cow, can you be within the range of each posture, the pointing and then the flexing? Tune into subtleties, and now let's circle the feet apart a few times, breathing in. Breathing out. Switch directions, rotating at the ankles, but feel that act on your calves and your shins as well. And shake out the legs one more time. Let's switch the cross of the legs. If you can remember, leg was not on top or not forward before. And then from here, pressing your palms down onto your thighs, beginning Sufi roll. So from down through your pelvis, empty your shoulders, and then inhale, circle your torso to one side and forward. Exhale to the other side and back. Maybe even close your eyes and just go at your own pace of breathing, taking your time, switching directions whenever you feel like it for several rounds of breath. Warming up your sacrum, your hips. You can even allow your shoulders to move organically. Perhaps they roll in isolation as well, or maybe your skull wants to shift around, loosening your neck. Again, no wrong, but simply paying attention and experimenting with love. A few more cycles of breath. Perhaps you switch it up into figure eights. Maybe dipping one shoulder forward and out, then the other shoulder forward and out. Then switching it. Feeling undulations of your spine. We talked about the vagus nerve and how we can increase the frequency, the vibration of the vagus nerve to affect deeper relaxation of our nervous system. The ways we can do that is through movement of the spine, especially extension of the spine. Last few cycles of breath. This great movement to release any feeling of stagnation throughout your lower back, especially in your hips if you've been sitting for a while. And then let your fingertips land just in front of you. Deep inhale, lift your chest. Let the belly draw in as you exhale to walk your hands forward. Pause. From down to your sitting bones again. Draw your heart forward, lengthening the front and back of your neck. Exhale, fold a little bit more. We're not going to hold this for a few minutes per se, just some breaths. Perhaps you explore a little swiveling side to side with your torso. Notice the effect of that in your lower back. Or calling the hands a little bit more towards the upper right corner of your room as you pull your left hip further back, this cross section. And I want you to experiment with one side, bring it into the opposite side as we stay just another 5 deep breaths in this posture. So if you're reaching towards upper left corner of your room, diagonally you draw your right outer hip further back and down, feeling that cross extension. And then if you've gone side to side, come back through center. Feel your belly lifting towards your back body in support. And then let your heart feel buoyant as you inhale to walk your hands closer to your feet and gently rise up. Switching the cross of the leg forward or on top once again. Ground through your sitting bones. This time, inhale, raise your arms up. Imagine that you're squeezing a block, the widest width between your palms. Keep breathing here. Draw the shoulder blades down. Hug your bottom front ribs in, melting them slightly towards your pubic bone. Lift through the back of your body. Imagine you could see it from here. Maybe visualize. Can you make a little more space from your waistline up? And then from your waistline down. Like you're gently being pulled, lovingly being pulled in both directions, up and down. And then extending your arms and torso forward. Maybe wait to see how long you can keep the arms overhead before you lower the hands. Of course, if you need more support, just bring your hands down. And then once your hands do land, inhale, draw your heart through the gates of your upper arms like we do in half forward fold. Keep that spaciousness from waist up and from waist down as you continue to bow in. Feel your breath massage into your belly, into your lungs, through the back of your throat and out to your nostrils. Really attuning to the nuances of your body, to life force streaming throughout your body. What do you conceptualize as the source of that life force? And as we're bowing here, perhaps offering a thought of gratitude to that source. Now again, if you'd like to crawl your hands over to one side, get more of a sideways forward fold, you could do that for a few breaths. And And if you're on one side, begin to make your way to the opposite side for another few breaths. Yin yoga is an interesting practice that I didn't really embrace as much as I have recently. This idea of slowing down, of being still, not aiming for rigor or striving to accomplish, but really diving deep into the concept of surrender and how beneficial surrendering or letting go can be as well. As you make your way back through center, feel a slight lift of your navel supporting your back body, shoulders soften down your back. Create a sense of buoyancy at your heart space as you inhale to rise, walking your hands towards your legs. So now let's come on down to hands and knees. We're going to add some more movements. Moving props aside. And as you come onto all fours, preparing for some cat-cows and variations of it, have your knees a couple inches behind your hips. Have your wrists just under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, a little gripping at the fingertips. Inhale into cow pose by gliding your chest forward, drawing your shoulders behind you, and extending your heart towards the moon. Exhale, hollow your belly, feel your tailbone tip under, dropping your skull as though you're bowing. Inhale again, lengthen your spine first, and peel your shoulder blades down your back as you float, heart, tailbone, and gaze up. Exhale, lifting the belly. Feel your shoulder blades spread wider apart as you dome your back. Changing it up, inhale again to cow, lifting your chest. This time, bring your feet together and exhale, pull your hips towards your feet in child's pose as you hollow your belly and round. Let's take it that route. Inhale, glide back to hands and knees, parallel shins, coil your chest up. Exhale, feet together, hollow your belly as you bow into child's pose. 2 more cycles. Inhale, shift forward, lifting your heart, tailbone, gaze. Exhale, hollow your belly, gently lower your pelvis to the earth. Last one, inhale, come forward and lift, heart space. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Can you feel the stretch in your lower back as you do that? Sink into child's pose. Now sideways, inhale, swivel your hips to the left, rising through all fours, coming to center. Exhale, swivel your hips to the right, sinking back into child's pose. Lateral circles, inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the left. Can you feel a stretch in your left glutes, your outer hip? Maybe. Exhale to the right. Let's switch. Inhale, hip to the right, gliding forward. Exhale, hips to the left, sinking back. Inhale, a half moon. Exhale, left, a full moon. Inhale, right. And exhale, left. Now sinking back through child's pose, begin to slide your chin to the ground. Stick your tailbone up high. Belly draws inward towards the spine here. Let your pelvis stack right above your knees. So this is actually called puppy dog pose. And as you're reaching your hands forward, perhaps looking forward between your thumbs, giving the front of your neck a stretch as you soften your shoulder bones back away from your ears. So again, not allowing the belly to be lax here. Find a slight lift of your belly so that you're not causing any compression in your lower spine. Just about 3 more transitional breaths here. So as your fingertips are reaching forward into the earth, can you feel a lift of your armpits away from the ground? Your triceps rotating downward, spreading the shoulder blades apart. Now keep the belly engaged, tailbone high, and begin to slither forward into Sphinx pose, belly to the ground, legs straight back, landing your forearms in front of you so that you could lift your chest comfortably. Elbows could be about 1 inch in front of each shoulder. Palms are face down. Then have your ankles about hips width apart. And can you imagine that I am lovingly standing at the rear of your mat, pulling your ankles towards the rear edge of your mat. In fact, try lifting your right leg off the floor and then pulling it out of the hip socket just further back, and then landing top of your right foot on the ground. And then do the opposite. Lift it off the floor straight, pull from the femur, the thigh bone, make the leg a little longer, and then set the leg down. And then as you point your toes, can you feel the weight of your feet on the earth? A sense of grounded stability. Spread your toes, pressing every toenail onto the floor, even your pinky toes. Now bring your attention to your thighs. Let's create a little space across your sacrum through a very internal adjustment. Rolling your inner thighs, the inseam of your thighs, towards the sky, so that your outer thighs rotate slightly towards the earth. You feel a slight broadening of your sacrum. Now, while it opens that area, it may also lift your tailbone. So as a counterforce for balance, elongate your tailbone back towards your inner heels. So that lengthens your lower back. Now bring your attention to your upper back. With each breath, can you melt your shoulder blades further down your back ribs? Can you draw the fronts of your shoulder bones slightly back behind your ears? Now bring your attention to the front of your body at your chest. As you take a deep inhale, smile your collarbones a little wider apart from sternum to shoulder head. A brightness at your heart center. Exhale, continue to melt shoulder blades down your back ribs. So this posture is also known to help detoxify the kidneys. In the area of your lowest back ribs. You might visualize breathing into your kidneys. And we talked about this inner smile in one of our recent meditations. What would it feel like if your kidneys were smiling? Can you create the bhavana or feeling tone of an inner smile there? Full inhale. This time to your mouth, sigh it out any sound. Ha. One more deep inhale. Long sound to your mouth. Ha. So let's set the right ear down. We're going to come into opening the front of the shoulder, and you may want to have a pillow or block just to the right of your right ear in case you want to roll your head to rest on it. Now bending your right elbow out to the right, almost like half of a cactus arm shape. Place your left hand on the floor beside your left shoulder. And as you press the ground, roll gently towards your right hip. So that right elbow that's bent out to the side is at a 90-degree bend. It's like an L shape. Take a moment if you need to slide your right forearm a little more out to the right so you're not congesting the right shoulder joint, as well as slide your right shoulder blade further down your back. Release some space in the right side of your neck. Now we often take this posture with the right arm straight out to the right. Notice what might be different here, what feels different in this variation. Like for me, I go a little less deep into the pose. You may or may not decide to step your left foot behind you. Here, let's take about 10 more deep breaths, really focusing on how you're breathing. And then when you feel ready, begin to roll back onto your belly, lying face down for just a few breaths, letting your arms perhaps release down by your pillow, and of your forearms to rest your forehead. Just to observe before going right into the second side. Last week we talked about layers of self and how we can use the physical body to affect the mental, emotional body, the energetic body. Can you notice any interrelationships right now? Now taking your time as you feel ready to gently move, set your left ear to the floor, perhaps place your block to the left side of your skull. Bend your left elbow out to the left side so that it's a right angle bend. Palm is face down. And then with your right hand on the floor beside your right shoulder, begin to press the ground away and slowly roll towards your left hip. Being very mindful on how your body is guiding you through the sensations, knowing if one side needs a little more time or less leaning back, more leaning back. Create some space within your left shoulder joint, within the left side of your neck. Perhaps needing to slide your left forearm a little bit more to the left, as well as the left shoulder blade further down your back. Notice if it's helpful to step your right foot behind you or to keep it stacked on the left foot or to be in front of the left foot. You can experiment. About 10 more breaths here. And you feel your breath entirely filling up your body here. And then play with a contrasting feeling of emptying your breath in totality. Now when you feel that you're ready, gently start to roll onto your belly again, pausing there in that more neutral position. Perhaps arms down by your sides, maybe pigeon-toeing your feet, which helps to add a little release in the lower back. Just a few breaths to notice what you notice. As you plant your hands beside your floating ribs, softly press the ground away so that you can rise to all fours, sliding your legs in front of you. So have a block or two, maybe a pillow off to the side as you come to sit, so that you're lying on your back, as well as a strap. And let's come down to your back. Bend your elbows into your, or bend your knees into your chest. Squeezing them in, maybe catching hold of opposite elbows if that's available. Now here, let's use the ground to sort of iron the back of your spine against, like you're flattening out the spine. So keep your shoulders on the floor. Let your tailbone feel heavy on the floor. Tilt your chin slightly down towards your sternum without completely closing off your throat. And now perhaps imagine breathing into the base or bottom of your spine, slowly lifting the in-breath up each vertebra, slowly towards your neck and then even to the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, see that breath releasing down your spine from your crown, down your neck, through the rib cage, your lumbar spine, through your tailbone. Let's take a couple more breaths just like that. Inhale from the bottom up. Exhale from top to bottom. Last round. And then from here, crossing your right thigh over your left thigh, imagine you're in eagle pose. We know that's a standing balancing posture, but let's do it lying down. So if you're able to, you could even tuck your right toes behind your left calf. And then bending your elbows apart, sort of like a cactus shape. Take your left elbow over your right. Now you could give yourself a tight hug here so your elbows are aligning down your midline. You could hook your thumbs, or you could wrap your forearms and palms. And then let your shoulder blades, or walk your shoulder blades both down your back ribs and feel the length throughout your neck. Let your elbows move towards overhead, just the amount so that they're pretty much stacked above your shoulders in height. Gently press your forearms towards the sky. Feel the broadening of your shoulder blades across your upper back. You might even opt to draw your elbows and knees towards each other. Find a little compression here, as this posture is meant to be a compression of the major joints in your body, so that when you release from the posture, it encourages rich blood to flow into those joints. Take another deep breath, but this time, draw your elbows away from your knees, spreading your wings and opening your legs. Exhale, take up a lot of space on the ground. Then bend your knees again towards your chest. Switch the crossed left leg over right. To whatever degree you can cross the leg, maybe tucking the toes behind your right calf. Cactus, bend your elbows apart, and this time cross your right elbow over the left. You can either give yourself a tight hug with your arms, hook your thumbs, or wrap your forearms and palms. Walk your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Send your elbows slightly towards overhead so they align with your shoulders. Gently press your forearms towards the sky. Feel the broadening across your upper back. And then you might choose to draw your elbows and knees together. Perhaps they touch. A little more compression. A few breaths here in supine eagle pose or Supta Garudasana. Take another inhale, move your elbows away from your knees. And then spread your wings, open your legs as you breathe out. Take up space on the ground, as much space as you can. And staying right there, let's take a lion's breath. Deeply inhale, fill up your belly, fill up your lungs. Drink it all the way to the top. Open your mouth and eyes wide and stick out your tongue. Let it go. Ha! Let's take one more. Inhale deeply, fill up from feet to crown to fingertips. Tongue out, let it go. All right, so from here, take your hands to your outer thighs, bend your knees, set your 2 feet onto the ground so they're about hips width apart, parallel. Supported bridge pose. Lifting your pelvis off the floor, slide one block across your sacrum, right beneath the flat part of your lower back. See how that feels. An option is to take a second block, stack it right on top of that first block, come up a little higher. See how that feels. So find the height that works for you. Tilt your chin slightly back away from your chest, opening your throat, round the backs of your shoulders. Spread your toes on the earth and spread your weight throughout the 4 corners of each foot. Feel that your feet are parallel to each other. Visualize your thighs, and can you slightly spiral the inseam of your thighs towards the floor without pigeon-toeing your feet. So the action is rooting at your hip sockets. This creates again that broadening of your sacrum. And at the same time, can you feel the internal action of elongating your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees, a lengthening of your lower back. I like to place my palms down on just below my frontal hip bones towards my hip flexors. Just gives a little reassuring weight to relax that area. And then I can feel the effect in my lower back. But play with where you want to place your arms. Now you could stay here with feet on the ground. You're in restorative Setu Bandha Sarvangasana bridge pose. Or you could begin to raise one leg up. Play with one leg at a time, or both legs straight up if you're feeling a stable support under your sacrum. So whatever you've chosen, let's be here for about 10 more slow breaths. Perhaps even try to breathe out slower than you breathe in, helping to further calm your nervous system. As we're lifting the legs here higher than the heart, Again, encouraging blood flowing in reverse, which also helps to stimulate your digestive organs, calm your nervous system, release tension from your feet and legs, bring blood flow into your pelvic region from there, to your reproductive organs. When you're ready, if your feet are up towards the sky, bend one knee at a time to carefully land the soles of your feet on the earth. Begin to remove any props from underneath your sacrum, maybe one block at a time if you have several. And at your own time, once you've lowered your pelvis onto the ground, please reach for your strap. Bend your right knee into your chest and step the ball of your right foot into the strap, whether a loop or just the middle of the strap. Extend your right leg upright towards the sky. Hold the strap in your left hand. So we're going to prepare for a supine spinal twist. Open your right arm wide on the floor and ground your right shoulder. Now take a moment to walk your pelvis another 2 to 3 inches over to the right side of your mat. Then slide your left leg completely onto the ground. Sickle your right foot. So from the ankle, turn just the sole of your right foot to face your left wall. This will give your IT band, your outer hip a little more lengthening while we come into the twist. Then just 1/3 of your range, begin to cross your right leg over your body to the left. Pause here. Keep grounding your right shoulder. Then another third, just pacing yourself as you make your way through your range of the spinal twist. You might like to look over your right shoulder, giving your neck a gentle stretch. Let's take about 5 more breaths on this side. So all the while you're twisting, can you draw your right outer hip forward? So it shifts slightly away from your torso and towards the front edge of your mat. Through that, we're creating tractioning and space in your lower back. Now firming your belly, slightly inhale, slowly roll onto your back, lift your right leg towards the sky. Take hold of that strap with 2 hands, flex your 2 feet, bend your elbows apart, and gently bring right leg towards your face. Just a couple of breaths. Unstrap your right foot, step your right foot on the floor, bend your left knee into your chest, step the ball of your left foot into the strap. Straighten your left leg upright, holding the strap in your right hand. Slide your left arm wide open to the left. Then step your pelvis a couple more inches, maybe 3 more inches to the left side of your mat. Sickle your left foot from the ankle, turn the sole to face your right wall. Then slide your right leg forward flat on the floor and begin to twist. Take it slowly, incrementally, 1/3 of the range at a time, so that you can just notice what's happening. Breathe into what's happening. Be mindful of the process. You may choose to look over your left shoulder, giving your neck a stretch as well. And bring your attention to your left outer hip here. You send it forward, gently tilting away from your side body and towards your right foot. About 5 more breaths. Drawing your navel towards your back, slowly roll onto your back, lifting your left leg upright. Flex your 2 feet, hold the strap with both hands, then bend your elbows apart to draw your left leg gently in towards your chest. Just a couple of breaths. Set your strap aside, draw your bent knees into your chest, perhaps come into happy baby pose, or hug your knees in once again, maybe rock side to side, massaging your lower back. Drink up a deep inhale, fill it up to the top, making any sound, maybe even fluttering your lips. Let it go. 2 more times before we land in Shavasana. Deep breath. Making a sound, let it go. Ha. Now look around you. Are there any props calling your attention to use for Shavasana, like a pillow under the backs of your knees for some lower back sweetness, a blanket over your entire body or over your eyes? Using whatever you need to feel most comfortable, land your body in stillness. Those of you that are still sitting upright, please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me well still. Okay, good. Thank you. Tuck yourself in for a few minutes of just letting go. as we begin our remaining 5 minutes in meditation, you could opt to stay lying down or lift your body gently upright to sit. If you're looking for a mudra, here's one connected to balancing energy at the heart center. As we talk about devotion, that is much about living from the heart, being a conduit of love force from the heart. So a mudra for that is the lotus mudra. It's bringing the thumbs to touch, the pinky fingers to touch, creates the visualization of a lotus flower, and you bring the thumbs to meet the heart center. That's a suggestion. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Those of you holding the mudra of the lotus, bringing your thumbs towards third eye center, Ajna chakra. May I see with love. May I see life with love. Bring the thumbs towards the throat, energy center, Vishuddha chakra. May I listen and speak with love. And bring the thumbs to the heart center again. May I act with love. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. Om.